God loves you. I found one of the more interesting, at least to me, interesting literary devices that people use pretty regularly is the rhetorical question. And when somebody asks a rhetorical question, there's usually one of two different meanings, one or the other, that they're looking for. In the first one, it would be, let's say they get asked a question that the answer seems just really ridiculously obvious to them, so they answer the question with another ridiculous question, or ridiculously simple question. Might be something like, is the Pope Catholic? Or does the bear poop in the woods? Well, the answer to both of those questions is obviously yes. So the answer to the question that was asked is yes as well. Or similarly, if the answer is obviously no, they'll ask a rhetorical question that the obvious answer is no, because everybody knows the answer to those questions. The other reason somebody might ask a rhetorical question is for something they've been wondering about and are not sure. They don't know what the answer is. And it seems like nobody knows. Nobody would know. Nobody could know. One example of such would be when kids are playing t-ball. I know I've heard this more than a couple of times. A kid hits the baseball off the tee into play, and their coach has been training them when they get the hit to run to first base. Run to first base. And the coach will even say, run to first base, but what does the kid do? He runs to third base and then goes backwards through the bases rather than the way he's supposed to. And I've heard people ask, why do kids run to third base instead of first base? Like they don't know the answer, and there is no answer. Certainly if you ask the kid, they thought that's where they were supposed to run. But as I thought about that question, I wondered, well, you know, I wonder what else kids are learning besides baseball at that age, you know, 5, 6 years old, something like that. And I realized that one of the things they're learning is the English language. And in the English language, you learn to read left to right. It makes sense to me that a kid trying to learn to read, trying to figure out how to understand his world, would assume that things go from left to right, including running the bases in baseball. It's not the answer, it's an answer. But anytime somebody asks me a rhetorical question like that, where they think, well, there's not a good answer, I'm thinking, well, there may be a good answer, we just haven't thought about why. So when I hear a rhetorical question that has no answer, I think about it and try to figure out, well, what is the answer? Another good example might be for people who are actors or models, or in some way professionally have their picture taken. Whether it be a still picture or a moving picture, video, whatever, they'll frequently ask, why does the camera put on 5 or 10 pounds? Or in my case, 50 or 60. But they know that they look a certain way when they see themselves in front of the mirror, or when they see other people that they know that are having their pictures taken. And that picture on the media or medium that's being used is makes them look larger. Well, I think the reason probably is because that picture or those pictures are being taken with a single lens like this one on this camera. Whereas when we're looking at something in real life, we're looking with two eyes that are separated. And so we can see around the object that we're looking at in part. Somebody standing in front of you, your left eye sees part of the background behind them that your right eye doesn't, and vice versa. Not only that, if it was one lens instead of two lenses, you would see less of the person. So I think that a good way to discover that for yourself is to see if you were to put your finger in front of your eyes. If I move it closer to the lens, it looks like my finger gets fatter. But if I move it closer to my eyes, I see more of each side of my finger. I see more of the background behind my finger. So a two lens view, like with our eyes, of people and things will make something look minimally smaller than if we're just looking with one eye. And I mean, scientifically, reasonably, I haven't done a study on it, haven't seen one, but that makes sense to me. And there's my rhetorical answer to the rhetorical question of, why does the camera add 5 to 10 pounds? I'll see you next time.